Welcome to another Thursday on the Pagan Perspective. I'm your host Yucca, and this week we have been talking about fertility. So today my partner actually has the tripod, thus the weird, am I bugging you? The weird angle, sorry about that, I have it kind of set on the shelf. But I'm going to go ahead and read the topic. It's posted below as always, and it begins with a very sweet kind of thank you. Which I'm going to skip over, but thank you to the reader. I'm sorry, he's a brat. And I'm glad that the channel has been helpful for you. So the topic begins with, I am sending you this message because a dear relative of mine and her boyfriend have decided to have a baby. I've decided to prepare a little gift for them as well as a few rites I'm intending to do to bring them luck, and have begun to study specifically fertility-related pagan topics. I'm currently working and reading about Buddhist goddess Guan Yin, who I came across in one reading. Long story short, I simply wish to hear more about each of your viewpoints and conceptions about fertility, creation and self-accomplishment/development, as well as anything growing or related to fertility, of course, according to the pagan beliefs. If you wish to include some of the recent society debates also linked to this topic, such as surrogacy, assisted reproductive technology, save your siblings, etc., I'd be delighted to hear about it too. But mainly I wish more pagan references about the topic, possibly from various traditions. I especially like Celtic and Heathen traditions, me too, but would like to see more variety in the resources generally used. So, first off, good luck and congratulations to your relatives. I'm actually not going to talk about tradition, like Celtic traditions or things like that, simply because I don't think that I have enough knowledge base to really do justice speaking to those topics. So I haven't gotten a chance to watch some of the other host videos. I'm suspecting that Kara has provided some resources and links, which she often does in her videos. But there are a lot of resources out there, so I'm going to leave that up to you for researching. Actually, I did pull this book out, which I think I showed in a video really quite recently. This is called Circle Around, Raising Children in Goddess Traditions by Starhawk, Diane Baker, and Anne Hill. I think it comes from the Reclaiming tradition, which is a much newer tradition, of course, than some of the ones mentioned in the topic. And it talks about the raising of the children in each of the holidays, but at the end it also has some types of rituals that you can do for bringing a child into a family. There's some really beautiful kind of ideas there, and for adopting or life changes. So I think if this is a resource that you're able to get a hold of in your country, it's a great one. It's one that I really love. Despite not having my own children at the moment, I did talk about my personal fertility issues in a video maybe 2 years ago, so it's been a while. I think it was called Many Questions or something like that, or rather lack of fertility. But it's hard to do a topic about fertility because it is so massive. For me, when I think about nature, when I think about what life is, I like to really think about and use the the framework of the cycle of life, death, decay, and rebirth, so regeneration. And fertility is part of that, right? So it's really everywhere. And we often think about our personal fertility, simply on a biological level, as we don't really connect it with the fertility of what's going on with the seasons, what's going on in our gardens and the food that we eat, but it all really is connected. It's the same processes. We think more about the human because we are human, but it's also going on everywhere else. And it's also happening on a more symbolic level. So the viewer really was getting at this a little bit, I think, when they talked about self-accomplishment and development as fertility. And I think that it is. I wanted to add to this conversation, focusing a little bit less on the development of an embryo into eventually being a person, and talk about it from looking at nature, which we are, of course, part of. But if we look at ecosystems, when we think about fertility, often what's going to come to mind is probably lots of rabbits, some deers, the flowers blooming, that sort of thing. But that's only one part of the coin. It's only one part of the cycle. Another really very important part is the decay. And the decay is the breaking down of and the changing it into something new, right? But let's think about, okay, so a tree dies. So the tree dies, maybe it falls over, and it's a log, and it begins to rot and eventually becomes part of the soil. Well, what is that rotting? We think about rotting as death, right? It's the dying, and there is death happening. But rot is because there are millions of little life forms that are carrying out their life, all of their reproduction and their whole little cycle, that whole cycle of birth and growth and death and all of that, they're carrying out over and over and over again to break that down. That's their life. And so fertility comes from decay, comes from death, as much as the other does. There's two sides. So when I'm talking about from a symbolic level, if it wants accomplishments, there's, we're working really hard at, if you're forming new patterns, say you're working on a degree or a promotion on your job, you are working towards bringing this newness into your life, but you're also breaking down old, you're breaking down those old patterns, you're moving on to new ones. So it's all connected. Going back to the new life of the baby, that's really exciting, and I think celebrating it is very beautiful. I do, from my values, I think it's very important that if one is to do a ritual, that it be something that the parents are comfortable with. And so if they don't share your particular beliefs, to be mindful and conscious and really respectful of what their beliefs are, and maybe try and work with them in a way that will be comfortable for them. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit of a all over the place because it is just such a huge topic. This is one of our open-ended topics. Sometimes we have topics which are very specific, this, question, but this one was more kind of like, well, what do we think? So I hope that there was something of value for you out of this, and let us know below what you think, and have a wonderful week. So, and I hope this guy, who's a total brat, was not too distracting. He was trying to be distracting, as you can see. So anyways, take care.